Today, I'm doing a manufacturer stock tier list. So, I know it kind of sounds a little bit weird, but basically I have a tier list of, I think, 10 different manufacturers, all current, and I'm putting them into this tier list based on their recent rides, acquisitions, basically whatever that would drive me to buy stock in this company to try to make the most profit. So, basically, it's in simple terms, it's just what companies have had the best recent success. But let's see. I made this tier list. If you wanted to do something similar, if you wanted to add more manufacturers, you could do that as well. But I just did the 10 greatest manufacturers right now that are still going. But first, we are going to start with S&S. And I'm not even gonna lie, I'm putting them in D tier. I've not heard a lot about this company in a while. To my knowledge, they have not built a lot of recent coasters, and that doesn't help because their last major United States coaster was the, what's it called? It's the one at Kennywood that has a bunch of inversions. What's it called? Steel Curtain. That's the name. And that has had so many problems. It had so many technical problems, so many structural problems, and they had to close it for an entire year to do maintenance on it. But I still think that they're not F tier because they had Max Force a couple years ago, which people have said that's really good. And they still have the Air Launch model, which, if anyone actually buys it, I think it could be very good. The only problem is that it costs a lot of money to actually build and sustain those, but the rides are still pretty good. But it's not quite an F tier, but it's not great. Alright, next up we have B&M, and I'm not even gonna lie, this is like a B right now. Bolliger and Mabillard, they've been known for having some of the best coasters out there, but recently it's been kind of shaky for them. They've had a lot, well, shaky as in the rides have been shaky. A lot of their recent coasters have been very shaky and not very smooth, which is super unlike them. They have coasters from the 90s that are smoother, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but it's just not great. Now, they still have a bunch of amazing models. Like, I am super high on the Surf Coaster model, and I still think that many models like the Giga and the Hypers are still going to be very good in the future, but a lot of their loopers have become oversaturated in this, different market, and they become rough, they become not interesting anymore, so sadly that falls them to B. But still, all it takes is one or two rides, and they could rise to A or S like they usually are. Next up, we have the Gravity Group, and I'm going to put them in C tier because they have not had many recent roller coasters. Now, they have had a lot of roller coasters over in China that look phenomenal. They look amazing, and even some of those have been in the United States. We know that we have many different ones like Ravine Flyer 2, Voyage, Zip and Pippin. You have all these different coasters, but they are very, very old. They are from the 2000s, and we've just not seen a lot of newer GCI models. I know that they had the one over in Australia that came out a couple years ago. I heard that one's really good, but they just haven't produced a lot of coasters. Now, they still have good coasters, but I would like to see a couple more in the United States. Now, that might just be the United States greed in me because I live here. But I just want to see more of that, if you know. But still, they're still making good coasters. They're just not super consistent if you know what I mean. And also, they do have a tendency to get rough really quick. But other than that, it's a good company. All right, next we have Mock Rides. And I think this is another B tier. I think they've kind of found their market. They've found their industry that they've worked in, where they do a lot of just launch coasters, which is completely fine. I know they have the spinner. They have the spinners, which just that, in some people's opinion, would put them in A or S. But we've only seen it 2 times. 2 times in the past, 15 years? We don't even know if we'll get another one. We didn't even know if we're going to get a second one, let alone if we're going to get a third, fourth, fifth, whatever you mean. But I don't know. A lot of their launch coasters are very similar. They're all very consistent, if you know what I mean. The launches aren't great, but they're just consistent rides. They're smooth. They're overall very comfortable and enjoyable, but they're not out of this world. So they're a very safe option, which is why I put them in B. But they're not crazy. They don't have insane rides to put them in A or S, but they're not going to be faulty to put them in C, D, or F. They're just a very middle-of-the-road company. All right, next up we have Zamperla. Yo, this is an F. Like, they're so weird. They're so weird. They don't have many coasters. They have like actual thrill models or thrill coasters. I think they have like 3. They have Top Thrill 2, which was a disaster. Now, the ride is really good. The ride's really good. But it opened for 7 days, closed for the entire year. That's not good. That's not something that you want to invest in. And I know they have another one out there. I think it's in like Canada or something. I haven't heard much about it. I haven't heard that's like amazing. I know they have like a heart coaster that's coming out. I don't know how good that'll be, but they're still a good family coaster company. But like, I don't know how much that's really moving me. Like, I know they have some like Wild Mouse coasters. They have a couple like family coasters, but that's not moving me. If we're looking at straight thrill coasters, it's not looking good for the future, man. I don't know if anyone will buy a Lightning model again, but we'll just have to see. And if I had to invest in it right now, it wouldn't be looking good. Next, we have Premier Rides. And this might be a surprise. They're going in A tier. After the whole opening of Alpen Fury, they've launched. Like, the amount of, like, I haven't ridden it because it's all the way in Canada, but the amount of people that I've heard say that it is in contention for the best ride in the park, which is insane when you have rides like Behemoth and all the other ones there, like Leviathan, is crazy. And the amount of like publicity and the amount of people that it drew in. It drew in so many people. Like, it was getting like 3-hour lines on the daily at a park with Leviathan, with Behemoth, with all of these different rides. And it was getting the longest lines in the park, and people are saying that's the best ride in the park. And it's only looking up and up for them, man. It's looking like a great future. And if they can make another ride like Alpen Fury, that would be sick. So, yeah, A tier is definitely a good spot for them right now. Next up is Vekoma, and I think this is personally the first S tier. The revitalization of this company should be studied in a lab. The fact that they went from maybe one of the worst manufacturers of all time to maybe one of the best and upcoming of this generation is crazy. All the different roller coasters that they have put out in recent memory since like 2015, it's been amazing stuff. They're smooth, they got good launches, they just have amazing inversions, good airtime moments. They have different models. They have the normal launch coaster. They have a new model where it's just a drop. It's just basically just the launch coaster, but instead of a launch, it's a drop, depending on what you want. You now have the tilt coaster, which is making also a revitalization in the industry. I think they're looking really good, man. Like, they're consistently building some of the best coasters to come out every year. They're building a lot of them across the entire world. Not quite the United States yet, but, man, the Vekoma United States, it's coming. There's going to be a lot of them soon, and we already know that over in Europe, even the family coasters have been mighty popular. It's looking up and up for Vekoma, and they're definitely an S tier if I want to buy stock in them right now. Next up is GCI, and I'm honestly going to put them in C as well. I know that they're probably the best manufacturer right now. That's why I'm going to put them over Gravity Group for wooden roller coasters, because they're building them more consistently, and the rides themselves are more consistent. They have just good lateral movement, they got good airtime, and they got good trains. They're overall pretty smooth. They're not as high of highs as Gravity Group coasters, but they're coming out more consistently, and they're just overall like more consistent rides, which is why they're over Gravity Group. But I just feel like we're missing like a A tier wooden roller coaster manufacturer right now, but it's still a decent company. Next up, we have Intimate Amusement Rides, and I'm gonna put them in S. I think they really have not had a quality drop-off, or quantity at that matter, because during the 2010s, it was looking kind of scary because they were moving from like the 2000s, the 90s, of like the Millennium Forces of the world, which those were still really good, but nobody was buying those anymore. But then they introduced the newer versions of Intamin rides and the launch coasters, in the just normal, like the Blitzes. Like Maverick basically revitalized this company, I want to say, because with the Blitz model, that opened up a whole new game for this company that they're still riding on to this day. And man, they're good. Like, you can either have like a ride like Pantheon, the swing launch. You can have a ride like Maverick, where it's just a launch or two, or you could even go with like a Conda style, like hyper coaster. And for all we know, they could still make a Giga. But I still think they're on top of their game still right now, and they're definitely an S tier. The last one we are going to do today is RMC, and I'm going to put them top of A. I still think that they are debatably the best manufacturer out there today, but they have slowly pumped the brakes on their quantity of production. They're only making a couple rides a year. Like, I think, did they even have an RMC conversion this year? I don't think so. All they did was Raptors, which, by the way, I do like the diversity. They have the conversions and the Raptors, but they're going to start having to, like, branch out a little bit more because there's not a whole lot of wooden coasters to remodel anymore, even though we do love those. They're not going to be able to build as many. And then the Raptors, there's only so much you can do with them. And I know that they had, like, that family coaster a long time ago, but it basically seemed like that's fallen through. But still, they're still one of the best manufacturers out there, just that their quantity has stopped, which could hurt them in the future, but they're still really good right now, just not Vekoma or Intamin in the S tier, but they're still really, really good. Thanks for watching. Tell me if I did this tier list correctly. I think overall, I feel like a lot of people would agree with this right here, but comment down below if I got something wrong. Comment down below what I got right, which I think was the entire tier list because it is mine. But if you wanted to also do this as well, you can check it out as well. But other than that, have a good day.